Our thoughts create our reality. Does this mean my thoughts override other people's thoughts? Is this like the debate in the psychological community about nurture versus nature? Is it individual or collective? I have found it's both. And then to make it even more challenging to wrap my head around, some of us learned that we are the only one in the room. We are each directing, producing, starring in our own play, responsible for the scenery, the plot twists, all of it. This view is like the Truman Show. But if he had created the show and then got amnesia. So he forgot he was the one calling the shots. As I pondered this today, an example came to me. I find understanding often through analogies and example. My example includes flat Earth. I didn't wake up one morning and say, I wish the Earth was flat. In fact, I wanted it to be a ball in space, like the model we were taught as children of the 70s. Back before it was careening through space in a helix pattern around the sun, which, by the way, is a new theory to me. Perhaps it's local to this dimension, or Orion Arm, as many are calling it now. But I wanted it to be a globe. And I set out to prove it is a globe. And that flat earthers are incorrect. But then I couldn't do it, and I realized it's not a ball of the dimensions we were told. Those things humanity perceives as a given, the sun in the sky, 93 million miles away, and the moon, a friendly nighttime satellite, are no longer necessarily true. So, if it's personal and not dependent on the collective, wouldn't we have found it to be round, since this was our intent? I began having these thoughts again when talking about whether it affects humans negatively to listen to music coming from a music industry that we know worships a dark force. Put aside whether you believe in that dark force, just know they do. Listening to them, paying attention, wearing the merchandise, these are all forms of worship. If these things get off on humans worshiping them, and we don't like what they do at their parties and behind the scenes, one should resist giving them what they want, which is attention in the form of worship. When I first learned about intention and manifestation work, I took it as many did. Ignore the evil and it will go away. Focus on the positive to bring more into your life. Spend time in gratitude. And in contemplation. I've lived this for years now. I had a life that others would consider bad for part of that time. I went through my midlife crisis, during which I behaved very out of character for who I had been for so many years. Then, on the other side of that fearlessness, where I followed my feelings instead of my mind, even down dark alleys, my dreams came true in many ways. When moving, I found lists I wrote during exercises many years ago about manifesting your perfect life. I now have what is on that list for the most part, even though I had put them away. So intention and manifestation clearly work when applied with gratitude. Many of us have proven this in our own lives. Yet when I began it, my life went haywire. So I guess the way I view it is that until truthers learn to come together and create the world the way it should be, one can do this individually while realizing that others are manifesting very differently. Avoid those that are manifesting using the power gained from others. Famous people are dependent on admiration, and they use that power and the power gained through dark magic. I'm a helper among the ones that work to end the suffering of children. I avoid the things they produce. I avoid their works. It doesn't matter how aware you are. If you are a human, they know how to get into your brain. Avoid, redirect, replace. Their exposure will bring an end to the false worship. When people know they have orgies where they rape children, they will stop giving them money and idolizing them. Music is on the street and in the cafes now. There are also recordings tuned to 432 Hz originally, the classics like Brahms, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky. Somehow there's power hidden in music. Whether I believe in that or not appears to be independent of my thoughts about it. It's put there by many individual free wills that know the magic of intention, even though the way they do it creates suffering for children and anyone else that they sacrifice, eat, rape, or suckle from. Pedivore Hivites have been running the world and the collective consciousness. In order to take it back, leave their narrative as much as possible.